Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this right now, this video is going to be a little bit different than the stuff that I normally do on this channel. Instead of like the music, video, and photo stuff, it's going to be more geared towards self-improvement, and this is something that I've been wanting to get into for a while now. If I can share some experiences and things that I've learned and I'm still learning with you guys, and some of you guys are going through the same things, can help any of you guys, that is really what I'd love to do with these videos and with this channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. So what I want to talk about for this first video is breakups, and more specifically, how to deal with them. So recently I have come out of my serious long-term relationship, and I've come up with 4 main points that I want to talk about with you guys today. Point number 1, put yourself first. When you come out of a breakup, and even before, if you're in a relationship or in life in general with anything you do, you need to always be putting yourself first. And that doesn't mean that you don't care about other people and are self-centered. That's not what I mean. When I say put yourself first, you have to put your needs, what is best for you, your priorities first in whatever you're doing. Now, are there exceptions to this? Sometimes, yes. If there's an emergency, if something happens, of course, you sometimes have to drop what you're doing. If it's family related, if there's some incident that occurs. I'm talking about in everyday life, in everyday situations, you have to do what's best for you. And that was a big mistake that I did. I never did what was best for Kage. I was always trying to do what was best for my significant other, and I would do it in my own way, and it wasn't helping the situation at all. I wasn't doing what she needed. I definitely wasn't doing what I needed. So it just was a big circle. I stopped doing what I loved and focusing on myself. I started putting this person as the main focal point of my life. And anytime you do that with anything that you put as the main focal point of your life, everything else is going to drop off somewhat. It just will. You can't have everything competing. It just doesn't work like that, at least from what I've found. You have to prioritize, put what matters to you first, put your goals, your dreams, your aspirations first. And by doing that, this will attract, if you're in a relationship, your significant other more, because they will see you are driven, they will see you have goals, they will see that you are working towards something and be more attracted to you and want to work on themselves as well in order to stay in a healthy, balanced relationship with you. This will also give you guys time apart when you are doing what you love and you are working on what you need to work on and they are working on what they need to work on. So everything can function in a healthy manner, and you guys aren't spending every single second of every single day together. You guys are building yourselves up so you guys can therefore build together. Number 2, don't blame yourself. So let's be honest. 99% of relationships are not one-sided. The vast majority of relationships are not one person is causing all of the problems and the other person is not. So looking back on everything that happened, you cannot blame yourself for everything. You need to look back and examine what you did and what you can improve on, but we're going to talk about that in a minute. You cannot blame yourself for the fall of the relationship. You just can't. It is not all your fault. And like we were talking about earlier, putting yourself first. You always have to make sure that in a relationship, especially, look at it and say, is this what is best for me? Is this making my life better? And like I've heard before, a great analogy is you want to be the star of your own movie. You don't want to be extra or a supporting character in somebody else's movie. You want to be the star of yours, they're the star of theirs, and if you guys can come together and make your own movie, then great. But if you can't, if it doesn't work for you and what you're doing and what you want to achieve in your life, you have to make that decision. And that is something that I've struggled with, and honestly, I couldn't do. And it caused me a lot of pain, turmoil, anguish. So moving forward, I've learned that and will always do that from now on. The healthiest thing to do is while you're in the relationship, especially, you need to ask yourself that question. Is this the best thing for me? Because then later on, if you go through the motions of going through an unhealthy relationship, you are going to have those tendencies, at least I did, to try to blame yourself and say, well, if I didn't do this, then it would have worked, and if I didn't say this, then we wouldn't have had this happen, and if I didn't, etc. So it's like, you cannot do that. That is one of the most unhealthy things that you can do in a time like this, because all that's going to do, especially if it was a toxic relationship, is push your brain back into the zone of wanting to be with them. And if it's toxic, that is not an option. You can't do that to yourself. You have to have more respect for yourself. Number 3, you have to let go of what you can't control. Another great thing that I've heard from a YouTuber on here who I love, and I'll link his channel down below, is you cannot do things and act a certain way just to get a certain outcome, because it will show. It won't work. You have to do things to make you happy. You have to do, once again, circling back to what is best for you. If you are always hanging on how somebody perceives you, if you are always hanging on what somebody else is thinking, how they're feeling, if that is always what you're most worried about, and you are acting just to make that person feel a certain way, or just to get a specific outcome, if you are going out with a girl, agreeing with everything that she says, doing everything, paying for everything, saying you like things that you don't like, and doing things that you don't enjoy doing, they are going to notice that. And if you are searching for validation, they will see that, and you are not going to get what you wanted, because you are trying to control things that you are not capable of controlling. If you are being your true self, and you are in a relationship, and the other person starts to fall out of the relationship, but you are staying true to yourself, you cannot and should not change yourself or try to change yourself just to keep that person there, because that is out of your control. If you are being you, your genuine self, and you are showing your love for them, or you are doing what you love in your life and you want them to be a part, and they don't want to, or they are finding issues or having troubles with that, then you have to once again put yourself first. Stop trying to control things that you cannot, and you have to let them go, because they are not going to help you with anything that you want to accomplish in your life. All they are going to do is pull you away from that, and that is not what you need. That is the last thing that you need with whatever you're trying to do. If it's entertainment, if it's business, if it's any kind of schooling, any kind of travel, anything that you want to do. Number 4, you have to learn from what happened and evaluate. So this is just kind of a wrap up of everything that we've talked about so far. When you do this, you definitely don't want to do, number 2, blame yourself for anything, but you do want to take accountability for your part in the fall of the relationship. If you stopped being you, if you put that person in the center of your life and stop doing everything else around somewhat of like I did, then you have to take accountability for that. Because if you do that again, the same outcome's going to happen. Even if the person is amazing, it's still going to happen. Like we said earlier, when one thing becomes the focal point of your life, everything else falls off. And people are attracted to other people that have things going on. Nobody wants their significant other to be someone who does nothing or has no aspirations or no goals or no drive. So you have to organize your life in a way where everything that you want to accomplish gets its just due from you. Another thing, when you evaluate and look back and see where you can improve as a person, once again putting yourself first, seeing how I can make myself better. For me, how can I be happier with who I am and make myself happy, and then therefore find someone who can come in and be a part of that happiness and increase that, because no one's going to make you happy externally. You have to do that from inside. When you do self-evaluation, this is not to show all of your downfalls and push you back into their arms or push you into somebody else's arms. That is not what this is. This is for you to think about, this is what I did. How can I learn from this and grow and be a better human being moving forward in my life? That is the most important thing you can get out of this, is how do I become better? How do I improve myself? For me, most importantly, and everyone around me. Think about all the things you may have stopped doing while you were in your last relationship, things that you did at the beginning and then kind of faded away from, maybe things you did for your significant other that they may have really enjoyed that you kind of pulled away from later on because maybe you got comfortable, maybe you got a little lazy. Everybody does. That's just something that happens, okay? But you got to stay conscious of that, because if you don't and you do the same things next time and you think, oh, it was all them, none of it was me, if you don't take this and learn from it and do the same things, the same outcome is going to happen. Insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? I'm paraphrasing. But if you don't work on what happened, and always out of anything, good or bad, that happens in your life, if you don't take from that and go, how can I take myself from there in that situation, and next time something like that happens, or in any other situation, take me from here to here, and then to here, and then here, every time something happens, and keep building and becoming the person that you're meant to be, then it's never going to work, whether the person is meant for you or not. So you have to take this in a constructive way. You have to focus on yourself. One thing for me that I used to love doing was going to the gym. And when I was in my last relationship, I stopped going to the gym. I stopped working out very much at all. And I started feeling more lethargic and losing muscle. And I was like, this is not fun for me. And I wanted to go back. But since I put my person in the focal point of my life and everything revolved around them instead of revolving around me, and having them be something that revolves around me in my life, being a part of my life, I stopped doing what I enjoyed doing because I was worried that if I went and did what I wanted to do and took her out of that, that was going to cause problems. And sometimes it did, and that was an unhealthy thing. That was another sign that I should have been aware of and seen and said, this is not what it should be. So whatever it may be, whatever makes you happy, you have to get back to that and find your inner true self and find happiness in yourself before you can go and give yourself away again and get into a serious relationship again and trust that you're going to have success this time. Just be conscious, be thinking about this stuff, and while you're reflecting on it, just think about everything. Don't just think about the good times, think about the bad times too. Think about why the relationship went south, because there is a reason why you guys aren't together anymore, right? Because if everything was awesome, like you're remembering in your brain all the time, all the good memories, then you guys would still be together. So remember, number 1, put yourself first. Number 2, do not blame yourself, but do take accountability. Number 3, let go of what you can't control. Number 4, evaluate what happened and learn from it. Take everything good and bad that happened in the relationship and turn it into a positive, because that's all we can do. Thank you so much for watching today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope that this can help you out a little bit. If you guys like these kinds of videos, drop a like and subscribe. I have a ton more that I'm going to be doing. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.